Recording in progress. We're all familiar with that. You're all very welcome, everybody. My name is Frank Brennan, and you're very welcome to the NDRC Masterclass. So we have you for the next 2 hours or so on navigating the Irish ecosystem landscape. So we're very happy with the attendance today. We had over 156 people register for this event, so it's definitely needed. And we picked a really bad day to do it. Firstly, because it's lashing raining. But also we have the UK Prime Minister in Cork, and we have no parking in the city centre, so it's perfect. But we have a full house today, which we're delighted with. And we have all our stakeholders. I think we've covered everybody. It's the first time, if you want to take out Cork now today, it'd be a really good day to do it, because you have all of the stakeholders gone. Let's not do that. We can't joke about that type of stuff, sure, right? Well, look, my name is Frank Brennan. I'm the CEO and owner here in Republic of Work. As I said, you're all very welcome. We are Europe's leading startup hub. We were nominated last year with the Financial Times in the top 10 with our partners in Dogpatch Labs in Dublin. And we won a fantastic award just now, only a couple of weeks ago, the best co-working space and the Global Startup Awards for Western Europe, which is fantastic. And this is when you give a big bool of a bath. Okay, so we're getting a bit of energy into the room, which is fantastic. So quickly, show of hands, whose first time visit to Republic Work? Shame. Oh my God, did you pick all of them? Okay, so for the folks who haven't been here, you're all very welcome. What I'd love to do, because time is of the essence here, I'd love to be able to have the opportunity to show you Republic Work. I'd be delighted to walk you through the building, show you what we do, how we do it, and all that type of stuff a little later on. So you're most welcome. But very high level, we're an innovation hub and co-working space. Essentially what we do from the co-working side, we run loads of events. We have all the usual stuff, hot desks, dedicated desks, private offices, all that type of stuff. We're home to about 350 members, which is 170 companies. Companies like SOSV, one of the biggest global life science VCs on the planet, is based here. We have partners like the Financial Times allocated here, and then all of the startups in the middle from Cork. On the other side of the house, we have a number of contracts with Enterprise Ireland, Intertrade Ireland, and Skillnet. So we are one of the regional partners for the NDRC, hence our event today. We are the HBAN regional lead, so the Halo Business Angel Network. I'm losing people already. I'm looking at those eyes and they're going, oh my God, all of those algorithms, right? So what we do is we connect high net worths with startups, okay? And we get them investment in the middle. And then on the flip side, with the recent contracts we secured was the Innovation Exchange back in 2025 with Skillnet. And what we're doing is we're connecting corporates with SMEs. And I'll be telling people a small bit about that later on. So without further ado, that was 3 minutes. Quickly, if there's a fire, okay, follow the team. You have Lavanya, you have Anthony, you have Becky down the back. If we're running, ye run. Is that fair? Okay, if we're running, you're following us. Don't take the lift, take the stairs. We'll meet over in the Imperial. Bathrooms are down the corridor on the right-hand side. Now, hopefully there won't be any fires. Without further ado, I'd love to welcome Lavanya, who's going to be our MC for the morning, who is our regional lead for the NDRC. Over to you, Lavanya.
Hi guys, thank you very much for coming today and for all those online as well. So very quickly, I'm Lavanya. So I'm a startup founder, having navigated a lot of these ecosystem supports. But today I'm here representing both the NDRC and Republic of Work as a program manager. So just kind of starting, why this series? So we wanted to give you a very quick understanding of why these are so important. These masterclasses are crucial for our ecosystem. So across the NDRC has 4 hubs across Republic of Ireland. And these are run throughout the years through the various different hubs. But additionally, we run workshops in this particular hub every month, second Thursday of every month. So what's the purpose? So ultimately, what we're trying to do is activate and engage more people from across this ecosystem. So that's not just the entrepreneurs, that's also the mentors and the people that want to get involved to aid and help startups and SMEs coming up, as well as governmental supports to give everyone the tools to do so. So the schedule for today, as Frank said, very packed. So this next slide is might be a little bit overwhelming. We have 5 panels for you today. So we'll start off with the introduction. We'll go into program support. We've got 4 programs coming up to talk to you a little bit about what they do, when to apply, what stage they're for. We'll then go into an interactive discussion about how do you work with an innovation voucher, before going into a little bit more of a deep dive into the growth and innovation supports for companies that are seeking investment. And after that, the last panel for the day will be a bit more about supports for SMEs, before closing with a fireside chat with 3 local Cork companies that are growing rapidly within this space. And of course, Q&A at the end. So hold all your questions for the end. So learning outcomes. As for all these courses, we always have to leave our people with some key learning outcomes. So for us today, we really want to ensure that everyone in the room and online understands a bit more about the ecosystem, how to navigate the support, what funding and grant opportunities are out there, how collaboration across the ecosystem works, as well as learnings, and most importantly, everybody needs to get involved and take action. So I'm going to ask you all to get a bit interactive, both online and in the room. If everybody can scan up with the QR code and give us a little bit, who are you? Who's attending today? So I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that before Anthony will update those and let us know when he's got some answers in. Okay, so we have quite a mixed. So we've got about 36. We have more? Oh, wow. Okay. So it's good that we've got a broad range. We've got everybody across all the sectors here today, with the largest portion being startup. So hopefully there's a lot of learnings you can take from today. So just while we're on there, very quickly, you can scan that and what brings you here today, and we can use that for us going forward. Typically, so feedback we've got is we want a better understanding of the national startup ecosystem. We also had a lot of requests for how do we have supports and help? How do we actually help and mentor some of these companies within the ecosystem? And the most frequently asked question is, how do all of these elements come together? So the importance of the startup ecosystem this is the main theme for today. So, but why are they so important? Sorry. So why are they so important? Well, it takes a village to build a startup. And entrepreneurs require more than just innovative ideas and technologies. They also need to build a team of skilled employees. They need to find funding. They need customers, suppliers, and so much more. And that's why an ecosystem is crucial to really help them navigate not just how to create, but also how to grow and scale. And we're in one of the very exciting places. This is not liking me today. Okay, we're in a very exciting place to be, because according to the latest Techstar report, Dublin and Cork featured in the top ecosystems in the world, in Europe. And with Cork being ranked as the #1 rising star in Ireland. So we really are in a good place to be. And just yesterday, we had a review published that ranks Ireland as the 3rd in Europe for female founded deal count. And that's largely driven by government backed early stage deals, not private capital. So big hands, round of applause to our stakeholders in the room. So we currently have more than 2,600 startups within the Irish, within Ireland. In fact, we are Riley sitting upstairs in this very co-working space. So the truth is that startups are going to be solving some of the biggest problems in the world. And this all has massive impacts in accessing high-paying jobs and making the world a better place that we all live in today. So if we can help improve the chances of 1 or 2% of these startups to drive the success, that's going to mean a huge amount in 5 to 10 years' time. So if we look at more widely at the entire Irish ecosystem, we have just a few hubs across Ireland, but additionally we have 6 hubs in which we call the Irish Tech Hub Network, 4 of which are involved. Dogpatch, RDI, Watershed, and Republic of Work are part of the NDRC. We have Joe and Chris here from the NDRC here as well. So the idea here really is, how do we really look into the importantness of hub connectedness? So that means forming networks, that means sharing knowledge, but it also means you don't know what kind of conversation will come about from just having a chat at the coffee dock. So if we look at the high level, so I'm going to just very quickly touch on these high level, but we've got speakers here today that will go into this in a lot more detail. So we'll start off with some of the startup programs in which we have both very early stage supports and also slightly later stage supports. We then have a very broad range of mentoring that have office hours and supports throughout multiple different governmental supports. And we have access to investment through EI and other innovation vouchers. And there are many other supports such as Intertrade Ireland, as well as tax reliefs. So touching quickly, so if you have a very early stage idea and you don't know where to begin, there are feasibility grants, innovation vouchers, and early stage programs. And those can vary from 5K to 15K. The next phase, you can get grants right up into 150K within the supports. And there is also a scale-up fund. And the more later supports don't just help startups, which is super important to emphasize. There are business expansion grants there as well. Ivan will touch on that a bit more later. So without further ado, we're going to bring up our first panel for the day. And that is, if I can invite to stage Eamon from Ignite, Aoife from New Frontiers, Joe from NDRC, and Ronan from Cyber Innovate.
How's it going, folks? I think I'm the only one at the mic for the moment, which is, with great power comes great. Well, it's not going to be like Frank's stand-up set earlier. I think Frank's doing 15 minutes at the Everyman tonight. But I think we have a clicker as well. Thanks so much, Lavanya. First of all, good morning, everybody. Great to see you here. Some great hairstyles in the room, mine included. We all got the Cork blow dry this morning. Thanks to the weather, the online audience had a bit more of a chance to get ready. But my name's Joe. I work for NDRC based at Dogpatch Labs in Dublin. Very lucky to work with an amazing team across the country, including our colleagues here in Cork. And we'll be looking at a couple of the sports on stage today. So we're welcoming Ronan from Cyber Innovate, Aoife McInerney from New Frontiers, and Eamon Curtin from Ignite. Give them a warm round of applause. And you can put them on the spot with Q&A later, perhaps in person, but for the time being, we're actually going to look at some slides. So we're going to kick off with moment of technical difficulty. There we go. So in terms of world-class ecosystems, they all have really, really good programs. So that's here, Silicon Valley, across Europe. We mostly look at the early stage and pre-seed stage. So from the idea phase up to accelerations, getting from 0 to 1 essentially. So you have programs like NDRC, Founders is a pilot that ran last year, Patch for youth, Ignite obviously here in Cork, or Techstars. Then at the acceleration phase, we dip our toe in it with NDRC with our accelerator. You have New Frontiers, Catalyst, and the BioInnovate program is probably one of the most successful examples globally. Now we're going to look at Cyber Innovate. Thought I'd hand over to yourself, Rona. You have a little bit of material here. We're not going to put you totally on the spot, but can you maybe walk us through what we're seeing on screen?
Yeah, thanks, Million. Yes, I'm Ronan Coleman. I'm Program Director for Cyber Innovate. So Cyber Innovate is a 7 million, is this on as well? Yeah. It's a €7 million funded project up to 2029 by Enterprise Ireland and the ERDF. The idea behind it, I suppose, we're a bit different to the normal startup program, is we're looking for people who don't have an idea. Okay, so that's the differentiator, I suppose, if you like, in our program. So what we're trying to do is bring in 12 people per year, 4 teams of 3. Some of them are here today. And the idea behind it is we expose them to an environment where they find the cybersecurity problems to then go through the normal process. So I very quickly run through it. In the explore phase, as I said, we have 12 people come in. There's a very generous scholarship of €39,000 plus your fees for a postgrad diploma for the year. And the idea behind it is we allocate the 12 people who are selected. They're hopefully mid-career people, ideally coming from the cybersecurity sector, but we do have people who are just commercial, IT, but need to be capable of understanding technology and driving a business forward that would be a high-tech business at the end of the program. We're only looking for people who want to start a cybersecurity business. It's not a training program. It's not an upskilling program. It's specifically people who want to start a cybersecurity business. So in the explore phase there, in stage 1, is we have a number of industrial partners. We basically spend about 8 to 10 weeks going out and interviewing hundreds of cybersecurity professionals who do all sorts of different roles. The idea being is that our participants get exposed to loads of different problems. They kind of, generally each team of 3 would identify 200 to 300 problems. So we have over 1,000 identified by the end of this explore phase. We ask them then to come up with potential solutions to ideate around that, and normally to come up with a list of 10 potential problem/solutions they want to work with. The second phase then is more into kind of lean discovery, or lean startup, customer discovery, where the students pick one particular problem. They go out and interview that particular role. So just say it's a threat intelligence person in a cyber company. They interview 50 threat intelligence people. In some cases, they'll say, okay, this problem is already solved, or it's too difficult, or it's too easy, or it's not big enough. They may pivot, they may not. So if they don't like the idea, or if something doesn't work out, they go back and pick one of the other 10 and go again. Or sometimes they just change direction or change the person they're speaking to. So by the end of these 50 plus interviews, they should have really nailed the problem and the proposed solution. They should have validation that there's something there for them. So at that stage then, I suppose it turns into the more traditional starting a business part, where we go through a whole business modeling exercise. They get trained on business pitching, which they're doing at the moment. They do a regulatory assessment. There's loads of regulations coming through in cybersecurity at the moment that, to me, offer lots of opportunities rather than being a blocker. And they eventually put together a business plan that they can then take with them to start the business. So the idea at the end of it then is that they've got a new skill set. They've learned how to do this validation process, and they make a decision then, do they as an individual try and start a business, or they can actually go for internal R&D funding through the commercialization fund that Enterprise Ireland offer as well. So we've one of our cohort from last year would have done that. And, or the other question is, if they go with the team they're in, or with the team that they form through the program, to go on and try and start a new business and go from there. Okay, have I more time, or and keep going all day? Okay, yeah.
I think we could, but in the interest of time, I think we have probably 2-3 minutes each. So if it's all right, Ron, we might move on. I think we have more slides here. Oh, very good. Ignite. We're going to Eamon on the far end of the row here.
Wonderful.
With a working mic.
That definitely sounds like it's working. I'm looking at these slides here, and they look vaguely familiar. I'm sure that I sent in some of this detail, but not quite all of it, so I might just look at it again. So guys, Ignite, hosted by UCC, is open to recent graduates from any third-level institution in the country. Our sweet spot is that recent graduate that perhaps has taken an idea from a final year project, maybe master's research, maybe PhD research, has completed their course of study and now wants to explore how to commercialize that idea, how to turn it into a successful startup. And that's what we've been doing in UCC for the last 15 years. Some of these businesses here, that the logos have got a little missed along the way, I think, but definitely Trust App, Legit Fit, Neurobell, Anabiotechnologies, eCanvasser, Trustation, Zirkulu, any of you that are involved in the startup space in Cork, these are names that are well known to you. These are all folks who have taken their first steps to develop their startup on Ignite over the last, in some cases, going back 10 years at this point in time. Key advantage, I think, that I know that we offer is hosted in UCC, and as I said, open to recent graduates from any third level institution, but there's huge access to resources across campus with some of the guys currently on Ignite in the back here as well. We have 26,000 students and 3,000 staff, almost 30,000 people. There's access to the consultancy resource that staff body exists. There is access to students as interns doing short-term work assignments, that type of stuff. And a lot of our folks in very early stages, it's tapping that set of resource, which is really important. There's about 135 million euro invested in research in UCC every year. That's a huge body of knowledge, and there's technology, there's science there, and it's about being able to access the researchers that are worked on that, and indeed the technologies that come from that, and using that to scale the business. And we've a growing UCC, 230,000, I think, is at this point in time, 230,000 alumni network, all of whom are very keen to give something back to UCC. And whether that's folks that are graduated a lot of years ago, have gone on to very successful careers in multinational companies, perhaps even now living and spending long times with lots of experience in international markets, or folks who have graduated more recently, gone into careers in industry, or indeed folks that have graduated, developed their own startups, their own businesses. They're willing to give back, and our ability to connect with that resource base is quite important as well. Probably the key message I'd leave for anyone who's thinking about starting a business is your ability to be resourceful is what's going to get through that first period of time. And that's about actually looking around you and seeing the resources that are there. Networks are important. We have an example of that here, but it's being able to tap into resources like graduates and students to take on the workforce. I know Legit Fit are here later on. Their very first employee beyond themselves was a computer science student that they connected with in the Western Gateway building through saying, we want to find computer science students to help us develop. Accessing technologies or accessing that broad alumni network. It's how resourceful you can be on that. Yeah, I think that's the key points that got shot across there. Happy to take any questions. I suppose the most important thing you need to know at this point in time is that we're open for applications right now. The closing date is tomorrow, lunchtime. So big thinking about those ideas. It's a simple enough process. What's the business idea? What's the market opportunity? What's your ambition for the next 3 years of the business? We know that these are idea stage businesses. We don't expect that you've got the 40-page business plan. But our closing date is tomorrow at midday, I think. So time to get working on that this evening. Happy to take any questions later on. Thanks.
Great stuff. Damon, lesson 1, be resourceful. Lesson 2, create scarcity, with demand. So closing tomorrow, everyone. You've been put on notice. And then, okay, great stuff.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Aoife McInerney, and I am the New Frontiers Program Manager at the Rubicon Centre, which is MTU's on-campus incubator. So New Frontiers is Enterprise Ireland's, I suppose, one of the programs that it has to support and build entrepreneurship. And we in MTU are particularly interested in entrepreneurship in the Southwest. So very much, it's a multi-sectoral program. It comes in phase 1 and phase 2. I've got a couple of people here, so if I can be really bold and maybe just ask to show yourselves. So from the current phase 2 program, Duncan is just down here. Kate and Becky, who did the program in 2022 and have continued to grow from strength to strength since. am I missing out? Soma did our phase 1 boot camp last year. And there's a couple of people online I know as well. So phase 1 is an online program. We do bring you in to say hello and meet you in person the first evening, but it's really about enabling really early stage founders to test the idea they have. So versus Ronan, you kind of come to me with an idea. I'm jealous of him though in a way, because he gets to bring people in and let them find the problems. For us, it's very much giving you the tools to understand, is there something in the idea that you have? You know, is your chimney smoking or is your house on fire? Both are problems, but both have different values and urgency to be fixed. During phase 1, we would work with our colleagues in the Nimbus Centre, which is next door to us in MTU. Andrew is here from the Nimbus Centre, so the design-led thinking team there will bring you through kind of a series of rapid prototyping models. We look at market research, and the element that's closest to my heart then is customer discovery, which is where we're asking you to go out, talk to the people you think have their problem, and see, do they really have that problem? How big is that problem? And do you think they'll pay you to solve it? And then how much will they pay you? Is it worth you dedicating years of your life to do this? We were at the Scale Ireland conference recently, and a great row of panelists up there, a little more extensive than here today, but that might be a good thing. And Alan Holland, who is a very successful company called Kielvar here in Cork. They were based in the Rubicon Centre for many years. And Alan spoke about how the first 7 to 8 years were really just hanging on, grinding it out. And then the market started to pull them after that. I think the last I heard, they're maybe at 150 employees now. So like doing really, really well. Frank Madden of Crest Solutions, again, which was acquired there in the early 2020s. We are still in 2020. Frank was in with us recently, and again, he said it's about hanging on until you make it, and that might not be 10 or 12 years. So I think it's really good to understand the reality of what starting a business will mean to you and to your family, you know, and your life overall. So phase 1 over, you have your idea tested, you feel, yes, I am brave enough to give this a go. We'll then we're open for applications, expressions of interest all the time, applications in April for phase 2, and that's our full-time program. So that begins every autumn. You see all of the locations here throughout Ireland. You can certainly apply to more than one location if you're mobile. MTU has campuses in Kerry and Cork, so it's the Tom Crean Centre in Kerry and the Rubicon Centre in Cork. We interview in June and August then again, so kind of giving people a chance to think over the summer. And involved in those interviews are our partners in the local enterprise office and in Enterprise Ireland. So you're getting a broad range of kind of people assessing what you're putting forward. There is a tax-free stipend with the programme. That's going to increase to 17,500 for the 6 months from next autumn. And in that, again, we'll do more customer discovery. We work with you on that ever important business plan. You know, Dan Murphy here from Access Big might have something to say about that. We would hear from entrepreneurs who say, my God, I'm so early, I just don't know what I'm doing. But it's always just good to have a plan, so at least you know when things are not going to plan. We'll work with you on the financial projections, on investor pitching, and put you in front of as many people as possible. Again, the technology gateways throughout Ireland, not only the ones in MTU, but the Nimbus Centre, IMAR in Kerry, CABR, the Centre for Applied Bioscience Research, they're all crucial to helping people, again, validate and test maybe what they're doing, and they're all done through innovation vouchers that Andrew will talk to you later. Eamon is a fantastic colleague. You know, often we'll see people from Ignite, but equally at the end of phase 2, people might go to Ignite because, you know, it's a bit of a, I don't know, a hard stop when the program comes to an end. So it's brilliant to have that structure when you're in the early stages for people to connect. Joe, you can stop me whenever you want. Like, I can keep going. Yeah.
We got okay, rightio. I just told all three. This is brilliant. Feel like we're at a press conference. Thanks so much, all three. That was very concise. I guess the good thing in my position is that we've seen we have the 4 hubs here on stage, and this is kind of the NDRC life cycle. But throughout the programs that we run, whether it's like our pre-accelerator or especially our accelerator, we've seen plenty of graduates from Cyber Innovate. We had All Shira on last year who were Cyber Innovate as well. You know, Recruit Roo I saw on stage from Ignite. Obviously, Emily mentioned Legit Fit as well, and then plenty of New Frontiers phase 1 and phase 2 graduates and alumni on our NDRC programs. So the system works is the good news. This is the NDRC life cycle. So we do weekly office hours. We do quarterly hackathons, or founder weekends as we call them, which are 1 or 2 day sprints to advance your idea from, I guess, idea at the back of a napkin to something real. Our pre-accelerator is essentially a 6-week incubator program, kind of a startup boot camp for those looking to get revenue ready within 6 weeks. And then our accelerator, which is still recruiting, by the way, is a conventional accelerator type program. We invest in 13 companies a year, invest 100K equity via SAFE, and offer a structured mentorship and, I guess, stress testing of your idea for venture scale companies. So that's kind of what NDRC looks like at a high level. This is it in short, probably in more succinct language than I've just used here. But if you're an entrepreneur, or you want to be an entrepreneur and you have an idea and you want to advance it under the guidance of people who kind of have a little bit of knowledge in that area, then please come up to me after this, have a chat, or book in an office hour session with myself, Chris, Lavanya, or Dushant, our colleague in Portishead, who isn't here today. That's all we have time for this particular panel. My name is Joe once more, joined by Ronan, Aoife, and Eamon. They've already said they're open to Q&A, so afterwards, come and say hi.
Hi, thanks very much, guys. So I'm just going to call up Andrew and Jim to the stage very quickly. We're just going to take 2 seconds to figure out which mics actually work. So
you.
Hello? All right, I'm going to join you, but I'll let you take this. So thank you both for being here. So I just want to start off by, I'll hand over to you, Andrew, if you just talk a little bit about the Nimbus Gateway and how the innovation vouchers work.
Thank you, Lavanya. My name is Andrew DeJuan. I'm the business development manager in the Nimbus Gateway, which is kind of confusing because we live in the Nimbus Center, which is really the house in which many departments live, including Cyber Innovate and Cyber Skills and all the other departments. But what it is it's an ecosystem. It's pretty much this micro-scale ecosystem where multiple, multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary people work together to accelerate innovation. And so the Gateway is one of 17 in Ireland. I could put up another slide with the map of Ireland with all of them dotted across. And it's the Enterprise Ireland program where we can leverage expertise, and how you do that as an SME is at a very low level to zero barrier, essentially, is through the funding. And the Innovation Voucher Program is actually what enables literally people from the streets to just register in the CRO. I think it's just €100 to get a constitution, or pay €500 for an accountant to put it together. You're a CRO registered company, and then you can avail of up to 40,000 for vouchers, essentially. I saw the slides previously, it was 5, now it's actually 10. So innovation vouchers are 10,000. All SMEs, startups can avail of it. You can cash it out in any of the gateways. Nimbus Gateway is one of 17, as I've said, and our particular flavor in terms of technologies are cyber physical systems, like Internet of Things, embedded systems, software, hardware, because the whole premise is if you don't go digital, you're going to fizzle out. The whole digital journey, digital transformation, is that you can have cybersecurity in there, AI, immersive tech. So all of that is within the expertise in Nimbus Gateway, leveraging PhD level. I myself am doing a PhD on immersive tech. And so it's really accessing both funding and expertise in the gateway. And the voucher is what fuels it. So I hope that kind of makes sense.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to come back to you in a second, but Jim, you are currently working with Andrew on a voucher. Can you just talk us a little bit about how that works, how many vouchers you've availed of, and where you are with that.
I suppose I'd probably start from where the whole concept came from, really. Where I'd say probably COVID, probably for all of us, changed all of our lives. And for me, I've been running an energy awareness business for the last 20 years or so. And COVID, all of a sudden, we closed down an office, came back home. And I think it was only then I realized, when I was asked to put out the bins, actually, one day, put out the rubbish bin. I looked at colours and I didn't know which bin was which. Looked at the neighbours, they had totally different colour bins again, and just across the road they had different colour bins again. I don't know if any of you got the same problem with that, but I just thought it was just for me. So I had an idea that you know, how would I actually go about this? So we were actually doing staff energy awareness events at a lot of the multinationals, and I found myself even inside in the multinationals where I would actually come up with my Coke tin and my paper wrapper, wherever, and I'd look and still not know which item went into which bin. And as I started observing people, I could see people coming up and just literally looking around, just dropping stuff. And as I looked into the bins, all the very same stuff was inside in each of the bins. So I went to Nimbus. I knew Brian Cahill, and he said, "Look, that's very interesting," because I said, "I have the same problem." He said, and we mentioned to another few of the lads, and they said, "Geez, I have that problem as well." So I did a kind of a storyboard of where I thought it would go. So we decided that maybe we could actually develop this into a VR, a virtual reality kind of what goes into which bin. And over the last 18 months ago or so, we have developed a VR app called Enviro Binware. And we're now starting on phase 2 of that, which is an iPad version of that. And that came about from my own granddaughter, who was 5 years of age. And when I went to put the VR headset on, I'd have to hold on to it. And she said, "Leave me alone, I want to do it myself." So I found that it's actually, I think, learning about recycling and
I might just stop you there.
Sure.
It'd just be good to just go into a little bit more detail
Sure.
about how you use the voucher, how you worked with Nimbus, just to give the
Sure.
audience a bit more of an understanding about the app. Yeah.
Yeah, well, as I said, this is phase 2. So the innovation voucher from Enterprise Ireland is we're just on waiting for the second voucher to come through. It was actually, through mentorship from Nimbus, who actually helped me do that, really. So we have the first voucher came through. I didn't really do much with it, and in fairness, this Nimbus actually directed me right through it. So, but we're waiting for, which we now have a proof of concept on it, and for phase 2, and we're just waiting for the second voucher to come through.
Great, thank you. Andrew, could you just talk me through? So how
Yeah.
does that work in terms of when you get a voucher? Do you do all the work for it up to 10 grand? And so you work with Jim the whole way through, any other company coming through your supports, and you
Yep. So I'll walk you through a Jim specific case study. Jim actually availed of another funding, which we'll get a phase 2 of, which is the European Digital Innovation Hubs funding. And we used that to validate his concept in the VR. But Jim was not a CRO registered company then, so he wasn't able to unlock the vouchers. We said, "Jim, register." And the moment, I think weeks later, we were able to apply for him. Now, we helped you by discussing through your business idea, your innovation. I mean, there's no such thing as a stupid idea. We'll explore that. We'll put the application for you. We'll help you along the way, develop that out. Aoife mentioned earlier about the design thinking. It's a very prominent methodology that we put all of you guys through, because we are very gung-ho on technology. App is the solution for this problem. App amplifies everything. But not necessarily. We have to really think through the problem through the design thinking methodology, through workshops, through experts there in Nimbus. And then if it holds true and the outputs can actually be developed, then we put you through another department, another team that will take it on. It might be a software team or a hardware team. But the first port of call, I suppose, is to make that connection. So I would be that first protocol. I'll discuss with you, arrange a meeting with you. If you're ready and primed to make an application, we'll do it together. And then put the NDAs in place, put the contracts in place. We leverage the 10K. Again, part of the scoping is within the 10K value. But what I normally do is, because you're eligible for 3 vouchers, I'd put together a bigger scope project and then leverage the 10K each stage. That way you're not picking at it piecemeal, right? It's gonna, some companies have done, oh, I have this idea for 10K, and another one pivot here. It's like you're a little bit over the place. So that in itself is indicative that you're kind of just like wandering around, kind of not the best use of taxpayers' money, I suppose. But if you have a passion like Jim does, he wants to realize an idea, we help by funding and the technology expertise. And so if you want the process, talk to me, and I literally concierge level service will hold your hand up to the point of, in fact, I'm not unashamed with the Ignite program. I'm talking to some people from the Ignite program. I'm talking to people from other programs. It's like, it's not actually stealing from each programs. This is the benefit of being in an ecosystem. You guys should capitalize on everything that the government is saying. Here's free money for you guys. Be yourselves as entrepreneurs, be yourselves as game changers. And there's basically just talking is the first unlock. So knowledge is power, as they say, but actually it's applied knowledge. You'd know a lot of stuff, just go out and take action.
Great. So this is very this is perfect example of a non-technical founder that has an idea that has a real life problem, that has seen a real life problem and has gone out, and you're now building it. You've got your MVP live, you're going to the second phase. So very exciting. And how have you, Jim, how have you found the process so far? Do you, from your point of view, being a non-technical founder?
I actually couldn't say enough for what Nimbus have done for me, really. I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing at the moment without the direction and support from Nimbus, you know. And I can sing that from treetops because I think they're brilliant. I'm not sure what else I can say about them, really, but they're, let's say that's...
I paid him 50 quid.
No, honestly, that's...
Great. Thank you guys so much. And just to summarize, so if you are out there and you have an idea and you don't know where to start and you don't know how to build it, there are gateways across the island, including Nimbus, that can help you conceptualize it, walk you through it, design a scope, and help you leverage those 3 10K innovation vouchers. One caveat just to add, I think you get 10K, but you have to pay the VAT.
So for us to get the green light is you pay your VAT. That's kind of like funding, kind of deposit, if you like. But as a business, you can claim that back, right? So it's really zero risk-free innovation. At the end of the tax year, you get your, what's it, 23 something hundred? Yeah. But the 4th voucher is going to be 50-50 then. So 10, Enterprise Island will give you 10 if you put down 10 yourself. So really, there's up to 50,000, you know, we could really scope a big project with that. And on top of that, to supplement that, there's other avenues like the Eddie Entire, if phase 2 is coming this summer. So please talk to me afterwards when we can leverage a lot of this funding as well.
Great. Thank you guys very much. So we will wrap that panel up and go on to the next one. So the next panel is the growth and innovation panel. So if I can please call up to the stage Dan Murphy from Axis BIC, Gillian from Enterprise Ireland, and Kate Popova from Everywhere English. So we are somehow down to one working mic, so we're just gonna have to pass this across. So I'm gonna hand this over to you, Dan, and I'm gonna let you lead.
Okay, thank you. How are you doing? How's everybody? Listen, thanks very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. We appreciate that. I'm Dan Murphy. I'm with Axis BIC. We are, we're Enterprise Ireland strategic partner in the region of Cork, Kerry, Limerick and Clare. But we're part of a nationwide network of BICs. There's 3 other partners that we have further who used to be Dublin BIC. and they're very much Leinster based. Then we have Propeller, who used to be Southeast BIC, and they're very much Southeast corner. And then we have West BIC, which takes up the Galway and the countries up the Shannon channel. Okay, so they're the four BICs, and we're largely funded by Enterprise Ireland, who's our strategic partner, which we're always very grateful. Thanks very much. We need funding too in that regard, but we're there for then, once we're funded, we are kind of a free resource for startups to talk to work through, and help them work with them on their projections, on their figures. But I do a lot of financial modeling and things. And what we would say to people is absolutely come in, reach out and talk to us. About 80% of the companies that we speak to each year, we didn't know last year. They're all new to 80% are new to us. And of all the companies in our region that we'd have done pre-seed start funds and larger HPSU companies in our region of Cork, Kerry, Limerick and Clare, we deal with about 90% of them, okay, would have come through and worked with us, okay. Now, we also work with the local enterprise offices, and Ivan is here from Cork City Council. And when clients come to us, they often don't know the full ecosystem of the different supports. And when we would signpost and help signpost companies to it, because it all depends. You get the right support at the right time for your growth. And sometimes it's the innovation voucher. It could be the Leo supports around priming and expansion grants. And you can move on then to Enterprise Ireland's pieces of HPSU. So we are kind of non-aligned, and we would do a lot of signposting too. But then when people are doing a pre-seed start fund and a HPSU, we then engage much more actively with the companies, because these are competitive fundings and competitive projects, etc. And oftentimes they have to come with investor funding as well, particularly the HPSU. And, you know, we have to help those companies who are experts in their own field, but might not be experts in the financial projections, might not be experienced in dealing with investors. And we are that kind of independent support to ye the founders, and to help you progress that. This is a very much a founder-led ecosystem, which I think is one of the big advantages around in our region. So we are service providers to you. So don't be slow to ask for the help.
I'll just, you can have this one back. Great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gillian Butler, and I'm a client advisor with Enterprise Ireland. And I work with a portfolio of companies in the enterprise solution space, so mainly sales and marketing and CRM tech. So I've been with Enterprise Ireland for 5 years now, and I spent the majority of that based in our London office, having just moved back to Cork late last year. So very happy to be back in Cork. And I don't know if many of you were at the Scale Ireland event last month, but I think what's great about events here is it's just a load of Cork people talking about how great Cork is. So it's a lot better than what I was getting in London anyway. So Cork, very happy to be back, trying to ditch that London accent I picked up. But anyway, on to our support. So Dan touched on them there, but for this session, I'm just going to speak a bit about our support for early stage companies. So mainly our PSSF and our HPSU. So just to give an idea of the amount, last year we went out with 187 HPSU and PSSFs for early stage companies, just to give you a bit of insight into the ambition and kind of the pipeline that's coming through. So our PSSF is 100K, and it's released in 2 tranches, and it's for companies who are less than 4 years old. And the PSSF is really there to help companies kind of achieve those key commercial and tech milestones needed to kind of go on and be, I suppose, be kind of a good looking, I suppose, to VCs and future funding down the line as well. So with the PSSFs, the process is kind of you apply, and if you're not an Enterprise Ireland client, you'll go through a pre-screening by my colleagues in the PSSF team. And then following that, if you get through the pre-screening, you'll have to prepare kind of the application, and you'll have a 10-minute video pitch. So that pitch will have assessors like myself who are client advisors in the specific sectors that you'd be targeting. And during that pitch, kind of, I'll just give you a bit of an idea of the main things that we look for. So we'd be looking at your team. So I know I was speaking to one of you earlier, and you said that you were working with ESB and you had really good domain knowledge from that. So you went off and you wanted to start this company, and you didn't have the tech background. So you found someone to co-found the company with you with the tech side. So I suppose what we'd be looking for in team is the commercial side, we'd like the tech side, and the domain knowledge is our absolute ideal. And now that's not always going to be the case, but that would be an A+ for us. Other than team, we'd be looking at the market opportunity. So what's your understanding of the market and the opportunity? Your business model. So what is your business model? Is it scalable? Who are you targeting? And are they going to pay for it? And I suppose what validation do you have on that? We'd also be looking at then, I suppose, bringing all of that together. What's the potential of you becoming a HPSU? And look, with the PSSF, it's not that we need an A++ on all areas, but these are just the type of things that we look for. And we understand that's an early stage support, and we want to support you and help you develop that. Following that, then the next support would really be our innovative HPSU. So that's really companies that are internationally focused, have developed an MVP, and have a scalable business model that they want to grow. I suppose with HPSU, we look for what any other investors would be looking for. But I think the key trigger for us at Enterprise Ireland would be that you have raised external funding. I suppose some things in the process with HPSU that we'd be doing is we'd be speaking with your customers or the people that you have trials with to understand the value that they get from your product. We'd be speaking with your other investors to understand why they're investing. And yeah, it's just, I suppose, not to take Dan's line, but we were speaking about this earlier. I suppose if you're a hurling player, I think the PSSF is when you're kind of working with your club and it's the early stage, and then senior hurler, that's when you get to HPSU, it becomes a lot more serious. But it's just kind of getting things together and having a bit more traction, I think, is a HPSU stage. But we're your coach, so we're there to help you, and as is Dan at the BICS. I'm conscious of the time, but just some other supports that we have for the early stage would be the HPSU feasibility, which is up to 30K. I also want to give a shout out to the Get Exporting program, which is for early stage companies who haven't exported more than 10K. And it's a program that's kind of over 9 months, and it really helps you develop your capability across many areas. And that's open for applications. And there's also, we do have our market research center, which Enterprise Ireland clients can access a huge database of reports to support your market research and identification of global markets as well that you want to approach. And finally, we do run these investor readiness panels as well to support Enterprise Ireland clients become investor ready. It's kind of like Dragon's Den, a bit intimidating, but very, very valuable for companies. So I've no idea how long I've been talking, hopefully not too long. I'll pass you over.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kate with Everywhere English, and I'm here to talk today about how myself and my co-founder Becky and sister, how we used all the supports in the last 4 years. So the first thing I would say, I think there was a lot of information over the last 20 minutes, half an hour. So I think for everyone or any founder in the room today is you're going to be sent these slides. So I think first thing you do tomorrow or Monday is write down, right, Axis BIC, Dan, I'm calling him on Monday. Aoife, New Frontiers, I'm calling her on Monday. And just say, this is where I'm at. This is what I want to do. Am I ready for this support right now? And I think, you know, if we've learned along the way that you can definitely stack the supports and they're all interlinked and it's all about timing. But definitely call all of them and just know where you are with all of them before you kind of start deciding where you're going to go. So Everywhere English, we are a workforce integration platform, and we help non-native speakers improve their language and cultural training in pharmaceutical and manufacturing companies. And I think Aoife now and Dan will be laughing at me every time we start and say who we are. It's something different every year because obviously you're growing. And they say, geez, that's what you weren't last year, you know, but yeah. So trying to run through this practically, of how we went through all the supports. So I suppose I'll give you a little bit of context. Myself and Becky worked in language startups before we started Everywhere English. So we were the first and second employee of a company. So we, to be fair, did have knowledge of startups before we jumped in. And then we were about 4 years into that company and we said, why the hell are we not doing something for ourselves? So we decided to spend all our COVID savings, forget about the mortgage for now, and use it to start the business. So we took a risk and we're still here. Thank God, we're 4 years in. And yeah, as Aoife said a while ago, 7 or 8 years. So we're nearly there, 3 more years of struggle, hopefully. So in 2022, we started the business. We incorporated in November 21 and we engaged, our first stop was the Leo. So anybody who's really, really early, just go to the Leo and have the initial conversation. We then were advised by the Leo to go on to this New Frontiers, which we honestly had no idea about. We didn't know New Frontiers existed. So that put us in touch with New Frontiers. And we ended up doing phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, which gave us 9 months of a bit of pressure relief, you know, because you were getting that little bit of a stipend. Bear in mind, me and Becky had to share stipend. So we were living on beans and toast for a while. But we wouldn't be here without New Frontiers, 100%. And you do have to be at a certain stage, but I would recommend everybody to check that out. And as I said, all these supports are interlinked. So while we were on New Frontiers, we were also engaging with the Leo, availing of the grants they had, the feasibility grant. And you can do them at the same time simultaneously. And they'll tell you if you're not ready, or they'll tell you if you're not at the right stage. We then went on in 23, we finished up New Frontiers around March time. And we then reached out to Access BIC and Dan. And actually, to go back a step, we actually reached out to Access BIC a year before, and they told us that we weren't ready and to come back. So that's a point worth noting. And then we did come back, and it was ready there. And we then decided we'd availed of the local enterprise, and we're going to now try and move on to Enterprise Ireland. And we applied for the PSSF. We got Access BIC, and in particular, we got Dan to help us with the application, which was very, very
Be gentle now.
very helpful. And we applied and we got it. So that was a great kind of benchmark, and we were delighted. It was validation, it was credibility. We also in that year got private investment, and again, it is all interlinked and the supports are all stacked, because it was only because of New Frontiers that we were put in a pitching situation where we are in front of syndicates where we could get the private investment. So it's really, really about building those relationships and interlinking all the supports. We then in 2024, we had a real revenue and growth focused year. We had the PSSF, which gave us a 12-month runway. So that allowed us to really, really focus on sales now and make sure that this is a business worth pursuing even more. And we really found product market fit in that year. And we kind of achieved a steady MRR that year. So that was great. And we then felt okay, we need to invest a little bit more into the tech here. So it was time to kind of move to the next stage, where we worked with Enterprise Ireland again and our fabulous DA. And we went for the EI feasibility grant, which is 30K. And that allowed us to dive deep into it a little bit more. And we applied for the HPSU. So then we went again with Dan, poor Dan, went through our application again, and we got the HPSU. And we went for another round of private investment, which we kind of call our HPSU round, because you need to have private investment to match with the HPSU. And here we are now. We're HPSU achieved, and this will be we've about 18-month runway now again, and this will be another year of complete growth. And myself and Becky were talking about it on the way up in the car, and we kind of added up all the supports that we had, and it's actually close over the last 4 years. It's astonishing. It's near to 400,000 that we've received from the ecosystem in Cork, which is mad. It's mad. And that's 400,000 cash in the bank. That's not just, theorized 400,000. It's amazing. And I completely agree with what the others had said before. I think if you're going to start a business, you have to start it in Cork. It's been invaluable to us. It's so true. It's been really, really helpful. And I suppose my advice to everybody, I know Lavania's going to kill me now, but trust the timing. There were times when we were declined grants and we were declined certain things, and then you say, we're not good enough, blah, 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 blah. Keep knocking down the door. Say, okay, what do I need to do to get to that stage? Ring them back in 2 months. Say, I've done that now. I'm ready for it now. And I'd say they were probably sick to death of me. The Leo, definitely, at Enterprise Ireland, oh, she's ringing again. But, Dan. Yeah, oh, Jesus, yeah. This is Kate. Well, Becky now as well. Secondly, build relationships early. I think it's really, really important. Even if you're not at the Enterprise Ireland stage, ring them, have a meeting with them, and just say, this is who I am. I'm at this stage now. It's March 26. In a year's time, when I come back, I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to show you the progress, and you're going to be a lot more credible. But I really think it's about building relationships with the people. You're not going to have one meeting with somebody and then get the grant. It doesn't work like that. It's a process, it's a timeline. So it's really all about building relationships early and making those connections, in my opinion. And my last tip is that Dan Murphy will be your best friend. So yes, be nice to him and send him whiskey from time to time. Yeah.
Copious amounts of whiskey.
Yeah. Thank you. And if you have any questions, yeah.
I hope is this working? Yeah. Use that one. Oh, okay. All right. One of the things I will say about Kate and Becky and Popova, it's been great interacting with them and on their journey, because sometimes when they're in these events and they'd be in your proximity and you're listening to them, it's great to hear how their conversation is going. Initially talking to them, the conversation talking to people is how they're getting on with the software team trying to build an app. And next thing, then you could find them and you're trying to get into a couple of companies. You're trying to help them with the introductions and things like that. And then 6 months later, I'm talking to them, and then it's the struggle of how to try and service the 2 or 3 clients that they won and the pilots they've won and that piece. And now they've gotten pilots and now gotten signed contract. Now signing contracts, and now it's a contract conversation. The challenges around winning those contracts and now supporting those contracts and getting the pilots renewed and having that whole conversation. So even those sideline conversations, when they're talking to me, it is great. Hey, I come up to you one time and said, I'm delighted to hear your problems. They were brilliant problems to have, because it just showed the progress of the company had gone from conceptually and theoretical, etc., to real life problems. You know what I mean? And it was a great set of problems they had that day. I was delighted that they had so many problems and the type of problems they had. So it is great to see, there's been an awful lot of, it's a great testament to Kate and Becky, the resilience, the pivots, the odd time that they have to come in, how to manage disappointments, how to celebrate the successes. They are good to celebrate the successes, and they're resilient in the tough times. So they're fair play to them, and Cork are lucky to have them.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. I'm just going to quickly put up this slide. Portershed have just launched, for anybody interested in PSSF, they have launched a 6-week program. So the applications are there if you want to get involved. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, you stay there. So I'll leave that there for a second. So we've kind of covered the first part, which is all about startups. And thank you to all our speakers. We got an insight into programs. We got an insight into the innovation vouchers, and then further stages to help grow and get that investment. And Kate was brilliant at really talking through how they have availed all of that at Everywhere English, herself and Becky. And now we're going to move over to talking a little bit more about what's there for later stage support. So if I can please ask Ivan, we're going to keep Gillian here, keep Ivan to come on to stage, and Frank, and we're going to bring Rosalind online as well. So I'm going to pass that to you and let you start.
Thanks, Lavanya. So I have a slide there. All right. Yeah, it looks completely different, but it's the same, right? Thank you for dressing it up. Yeah, so I'm Ivan McCutcheon. I'm with the local enterprise office. The important thing I think to note about the local enterprise office is it's local. So we have 31 local enterprise offices around the country. So it's about finding your local one initially. And you should have the same suite of supports everywhere, although there will be a different emphasis depending on the local ecosystem and the local economy. The main thing I think really that's worth my while addressing here today is the feasibility grant. So that's on top of the slide there. Just before I go into talking a bit about the feasibility, I'd like to just address some of the other things that are on the slide. So mentoring is very readily available, and I would encourage, as a local enterprise office, we have to approve hundreds of mentoring assignments each year. So we're very quick to give those out. If you do need to be in business, but once you're up and running, mentoring is available pretty quickly. We have a large panel with a very wide range of expertise. You will get 3 sessions and you can come back for more, So and there's no cost to it, and really it's just about defining what it is you want a bit of support around. In terms of direct funding, the priming and business expansion grants have already been mentioned. Our focus tends to be on job creation. So it's not so much about extending the runway, which is what a lot of the conversation has been about today. It's about creating jobs when you're at that stage. There is obviously funding for further investment in building out your product and also in market entry. But at the end of the day, our key metric is how many jobs are being created in the business. We have some supports around IP, IP Start and IP Plus. They're just scaled down versions of what's available in Enterprise Ireland. And we have a support for consulting and expertise around digital and some funding for adoption of digital tools, which may be relevant in terms of building out your operation, becoming more efficient, defining your processes better and being able to deliver more consistently. So I'll just circle back to the feasibility grant. And it's funding of up to 15,000, but it is 50% funding. So just typically our conversation when someone is coming in looking at a feasibility grant is to go through their journey to date and really make sure that you have already or are aware of the other supports in the ecosystem that don't necessarily involve you spending your money at this point. So our question is, do you really need to spend this right now, and what's that going to get you to, and have you sufficiently defined your problem? Do you know enough about your market to go and start building at this point? And have you gone through the process with some discipline and time that IFA, for example, would have outlined in regard to New Frontiers, or even more extensively in the Cyber Innovate program? That process of customer discovery and trying to establish if there is market fit and if it's there before you start spending your money. In terms of feasibility, we're looking at the kind of final stage before commercialization. So we would hope that at the end of the feasibility study, you are ready to raise significant funding or start employing people, applying for a priming grant, or just, that you're ready to get out into the market at that stage. We're not really interested in, just developing the concept out further or further research around the product. It's the business that we want to see emerging at the end of it, and a business that's starting to employ people relatively soon. So that's the stage we would see ourselves at. And in considering that stage, we want to see that you have the team or the skill set of your own, or and that you have access to the resources, or you have a pathway to investment to make that happen, so that if the outcome of the feasibility study is positive, that you're in a position to take the next steps. So, we will be kind of looking ahead down the road and saying, so in 6 months' time, feasibility study is positive. What then? Like what options are available to you then? And again, the outcomes we're looking for are jobs and creation of value in Cork, and development of intellectual property or new technology or innovation that's going to be the source of competitive advantage, going to be a source of revenue, going to be a source of growth. So those are the conversations we have around feasibility studies. We do fund quite a few. Just be aware that if you're doing New Frontiers 2, the Leo feasibility study grant is not available to you, but you really should be having conversations with everybody and weighing those decisions up, because we will find another way if we can to support you. If you're coming out of New Frontiers 2 and you still need further support, where nobody wants to see good businesses and projects drop off the support cliff at that point. So look, just have the conversations early and build up those relationships. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ivan. So I spoke a bit through kind of our startup support for early stage companies from Enterprise Ireland, and I think a lot of us and a lot of people in the ecosystem know us from that. But we do support companies throughout the whole journey, really. And just to give a bit of facts on that, I suppose, like last year we invested just under 50 million into Irish enterprises, and the individual check sizes for that range from 100K all the way up to 2 million. Sorry, is my mic is working now? Up to 2 million. And that's all a part of our strategy of investing larger amounts into companies as well, so that it's not that we're supporting you at the start of your journey, but that we're actually supporting that scale and growth internationally as well. So our mission, which I have there on the slide, is to accelerate sustainable Irish business to start, compete, scale, and connect. And I suppose just to speak about the building blocks that go under that and some of the key areas that we support around capability development and leadership development. So one area is people. So we have a lot of different programs to support our client companies develop their people and to make sure their team is fit for purpose and the right team to drive that company to growth. So examples of this includes our Spotlight on Skills program. So that's where consultants work with you to understand your company's needs and any skills gaps that you might have to be able to ensure that everyone, that you have the strongest team possible. We also have supports like Leadership for Growth and our new CFO program, which is tailored at CEOs of high growth companies to be able to give them the development that they need to be able to scale a company globally. We also have supports in terms of if you have a gap in your team. We have the likes of our Key Manager grant, which a lot of clients would use that to facilitate a gap, such as a CTO or a CFO, a key senior hire that might be missing from your team that you require. So we provide grant support to help you embed that person into your team and help drive the growth. We also have Grad Start, so that's getting someone who's just graduated into your team, and we see that a lot with companies availing of that on the engineering side as well. So that's all around talent, skills, developing up your team, and like there's a huge amount of sports in that area. As well as that, innovation is obviously core to what we do, and we want to support your innovation. So you heard a lot today about the innovation vouchers, which are available to you at an early stage in your journey. We also support companies along later stages with R&D grants. So like that includes developing out your product. And what we see a lot in this actually, or what I'm seeing a lot lately anyway, is companies who say started their product and we're targeting kind of SMEs or mid-market and have now developed, grown into markets around the world and are now looking to get from that stage of mid-market and getting to enterprise level and need to enhance their product. And we have R&D supports available to kind of help you develop that. We also have DPI, which is Digital Process Innovation, and that's helping your own internal operations. So I think especially at the pace that everything's accelerating with AI, it's really to ensure that you're not working off spreadsheets, you're not working off kind of random files that I know a lot of people are, and it's helping you really enhance your own internal operations so that you can really support your clients going forward. So there's a lot there in that. The other side that I just want to touch on is like Enterprise Ireland, we're a team of about 850 people and we have 50 offices globally. So having just come back from one of our overseas offices, I might be a bit biased in saying that our overseas network is really supportive to client companies as well. So as I said, across 50 different offices, we provide companies with support in markets, and these are sector experts on our team who really understand the market that you're targeting and can really help you understand what are the, I suppose, niche things that you need to know about this market before targeting. They help you connect in with the relevant stakeholders in that market. And like they have a lot of events and initiatives. Like one example, in the UK, we run a e-commerce advisory panel where we have Irish diaspora who sit on that, and that's the likes of the heads of e-commerce for TikTok, Dyson, Superdrug, and they have clients present to them and they give feedback on your value proposition, your route to market, and what they'd want to see as a potential buyer for your product. So that's just some of the examples. And on the ground help. But look, there's a lot of supports and we've said a lot today and I can't imagine how fried your heads are. But what I would say is use our website, use the National Enterprise Hub is a great resource as well. You can kind of go in, select the stage you're at and the types of supports that you're looking for. And if you've only learned one thing from me today, it's my name, and please do just reach out to me. I've been saying this to Frank, after coming back to Cork, I want more Cork companies. So I'd be very open to chatting with any of you and seeing how we might be able to support your growth.
Cool, boss. So it is safe to say that at this point, we need new microphones. And at this point, your head is absolutely fried. There's loads of information out there. And I suppose the stories that you've heard today and the information that you're after hearing, I think the biggest and most important thing to do is, so anybody who sat up here on stage today, reach out to them. Catch them at the end for a coffee, have a quick conversation. Eamon's hanging around, Dan is here. Dan gives out his mobile number so you can ring Dan at any point. Gillian will do the same. She wants to build her network here in Cork, but there's loads of information. And similarly, look, I'm going to add to the list. Last year, we secured a contract with Skillnet. The first contract we secured was the Innovation Exchange. Quick show of hands, has anybody heard of the Innovation Exchange? Okay, very few people. That's okay. That just shows us the audience that we have. So the Innovation Exchange is kind of more suited for companies that are 10 or more people who do €1 million of turnover or more. So essentially, it's Ireland's marketplace for innovation. So I'll give you an example. We've worked closely with companies on the startup side for many, many years. And the big challenges for them is getting their first customer and trying to get to the big customer like the HSE or the NHS or the big organizations. It takes 1 million years. So what the Innovation Exchange has done is they've reverse engineered it. So they've created links with the corporates. And what the corporates are doing is they're creating digital transformation challenges. So what they do is they post it on the platform, and as an SME, you have access to this platform. So there's 1,500 SMEs that sit on it. Corporate challenge comes out and you apply to pitch for that corporate challenge. So that gives you your inroad and to run a pilot with a corporate client. So it's really, really interesting. So for example, a couple of challenges that we've done in the past. So you've big customers and clients like Ryanair, you've had Kerry Group, Cadbury Foods have done a couple of challenges. So they're the big guys. But more locally, we've done stuff with the likes of Ballymaloo Foods. So Ballymaloo Foods, big challenge that they had is they have one energy bill coming into the business, but there's 3 businesses within the organization. So there's the cooking school, there's the factory where they're actually making the Ballymaloo relish, and there's the back end restaurant. So one energy bill. Imagine the accountant's pain of dicing up that energy cost and trying to figure out that consumption. It's near impossible. So what they did was they posted a challenge on the corporate challenge on the marketplace. They had 6 companies come and present and say we can come up with that solution. They implemented some IoT devices across the site, and now they can dice up their energy consumption very, very easily, and they can split the bill essentially. So that's the corporate challenges that the Innovation Exchange do. So really, really interesting space. The other contract we have, we ran a pilot last year, and the big thing that we're noticing even today is there's so many people doing stuff, and there's a real collaboration piece. So we're working very closely together as agencies, but for ye in the audience, it's very challenging kind of navigating that journey. I can see it by your eyes. You're about to cry. So what we've done with the Pathway to Innovate is quite simply, we ran a pilot last year for 3 months, and we worked with a number of SMEs. And we ran a diagnostics to see where exactly those companies are. So it's a big, long survey. It's 40 questions. It's not that bad. And it shows you exactly where you are in your innovation journey. So what supports have you availed of? Have you contacted Ivan? Have you been in touch with Gillian? Where did you start your journey? And what it does is you come along to a clinic that we'll host here actually on the 30th of April. And you'll be with us for about 2 hours, and we'll help map out your specific needs and requirements for your innovation pathway. After the fact, it's not this type of flash in the pan type scenario, where you'll come in, you'll do a really nice workshop, you'll get a plan to walk away with. But what we'll actually do is we'll hold you accountable. So we'll touch base every month with you, and we'll do that in the event of a small event, a networking breakfast. Ivan, you have to respond to my email, where we'll get all the stakeholders back into the space where you can ask those questions and actually hear from Ivan exactly where he can help. So for an example, we started this Pathway to Innovate. I put my hand up and I said, right, I'm going to participate in the program. And straight away I was like, I'm supposed to have all of the answers and I don't. So I contacted Ivan. We sat down, we walked through the building. We're looking at growth at the moment. And Ivan was like, I can help you here, 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 here. And I was like, I thought I was gone beyond getting help from the local enterprise office. So the Pathway to Innovate for me as a private company was a huge help for that. And all of a sudden, I now understand even more what the local enterprise office do and the local state supports. So it's really, really, really good. Scan the QR codes. They're along the banners along the side. Talk to me afterwards. Please do, because it's a fantastic program. Talk to everybody afterwards. We hope that you hang around for a little while. And I think we do have one more person who's going to be dialing in from Intertrade. Am I right, Lavanya? Oh, brilliant. When the tech works, right? All good?
Are we on? Can you hear me?
Say yes. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Has the screen moved on for in person?
You're gonna have to share your slides because I can't share you and the slide at the same time.
Okay. Oh, it won't let me share the slides. Do you want me just to talk through some of the supports?
Maybe just talk through the supports. The slides will be shared anyway after this.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having me here. Apologies I couldn't be there in person, but I am from Intertrade Ireland. So if anyone hasn't heard of us, Intertrade Ireland was set up 26 years ago under the Good Friday Agreement, and we're the all-island economic development agency. So our main role is to identify opportunities for collaboration north and south of the border. So some of the supports that we offer then look to tackle innovation challenges, look to tackle cross-border trade, and we also have Shared Island, which is across ourselves, Invest Northern Ireland and Enterprise Ireland, and those look at things like women's entrepreneurship. So in terms of innovation supports then, we have a pathway of innovation, and what it looks to do is to link you with an academic or someone to help with your innovation in the other jurisdictions. So if that's looking at, if you have an innovative product or process that you want to explore, we can link you with someone in the other jurisdiction to help you kind of go through that pathway. So in terms of innovation supports, we have sort of 4 steps to that. So we have Explore, and that provides funding to help you explore a new product or process. We have Plan, so that provides time of an academic or a specialist to help you plan how to implement that in your business. And then we have our Innovation Boost. So that'll provide quite a little bit more funding for you to have someone actually work in your business to implement this new product or process. And Collaborate is the next step then. So that's kind of B2B. That's when you could work with another organization as well, and the funding's paid directly to you. So that's sort of our innovation pathway, looks at helping you implement a new innovation in your business. So things that would look at are things like new product development, new processes, so things like digitalization, energy efficiency, new technologies. If you want to look at how your data is processed in the business and what better impact that could make, and any other sort of innovation that maybe doesn't fall into one of these categories, we can explore and see if that would be a good fit for the program. So for that, that is our Business Explorer and Innovation Boost. Those would be the innovation supports. All of the eligibility criteria and further explanations on our website in our program section, so intertradeireland.com. The next area of support we have then is through this Shared Island Enterprise Scheme. And what I think would be most appropriate for this audience is our Women's Entrepreneurship Program. So we have 3 different Women's Entrepreneurship workshop programs. And they are called We Build, We Scale, and We Grow. There are application deadlines on the 23rd of March for the We Build program. It's a tech-focused program, so just kind of flagging that date in case anyone thinks they're interested in potentially working in a women's entrepreneurship program. Again, have a look on our website or reach out to me. My details should be shared after this if you want further information on the women's entrepreneurship programs. But they would be cohorts of companies, north and south, women-led businesses, to kind of work together through a workshop series. And the final set of supports I'll talk through then are our trade supports. So we look at cross-border trade as a springboard into international markets. We find that if you start kind of navigating that process from one jurisdiction into the other, then it's much easier to kind of springboard into international markets. And we have a couple of different trade supports then. We have our Trade Hub. So that's a dedicated digital service. You can go on, ask questions. You can get bespoke advice on a trade issue that you're struggling with. So if that's VAT, if that's customs, regulations, even employment within that. So that's tailored consultancy advice that you can get through our website. We have our trade series. So that's a series of webinars on key areas of trade development. Again, those will all be on our website. So you can go through and have a look at the different events and what might be of interest to you. Oh, I can see our funding supports coming up on screen now. So those are some of the funding areas from our innovation pathway. Our go-to tender program then is one that can help you with all-island procurement. So you can look at how to access the procurement market in the other jurisdiction. And we also have supply chain and sourcing as well. And then the one on the screen then is Acumen. So that will help fund sales support into your business if you're looking at, so if you're based in Cork and you're looking at trading into Northern Ireland, that will be funding to support sales support for you to target that market. And we can also look at things like market research, recruitment and training support, and sales support workshops. And then we have our trade export pathway, and that that was part of the Acumen there. So specialist support to grow your cross-border sales. So Whistle stopped here through some of the supports for Intertrade Ireland, but if you're interested in any of those cross-border opportunities, please do reach out. My details are on screen, or the QR code will take you directly to our website. You can check out the eligibility criteria for any of our programs. So I'll pass back over to Lavanya then.
Amazing, thank you, and thanks for joining us online as well. And that's all from, can you hear me okay? Yeah, that's all from the panel today. Thank you very much. So we're going to wrap that up. Thank you everybody for your patience. This is the first time we're doing a live, in-person and online, so there will always be some technical glitches, so apologies for that. I left the, yeah. So we've loaded you with loads of information there. So as we had Kate earlier talking through how she's navigated the ecosystem, we're going to end today with a fireside chat with Ian, Nick and Mary from LegitBit, MCS Tech and Happier. So if they could join me on the stage, please. So I'm going to leave you with this mic. So Ian, I'm going to start over with you. If you could just give us a little bit of background about, where you are, what the company is, and how you've navigated, how the support's helped you navigate the ecosystem.
Absolutely. Great to see everyone here today and excited to be here myself. My name is Ian. I'm one of the founders of a company called LegitFit. So what we do ourselves is we provide management software for health, fitness and wellness businesses. So essentially making their processes more efficient, helping them maximize their business potential, so enhancing their customers' experience. And I suppose luckily we became the leaders within the Irish market. We've since grown to, it's difficult enough with the north side accent anyway, but we've since grown to over 30 different countries with close to maybe 1,500 businesses working with us in partnership. And I suppose with our journey really kind of started with Ignite, Eamon Curtin over. It was fantastic for us because we didn't really know what we were doing. We still don't in times as well, but always an open door policy. It was a kind of a year-long course, and it just allowed us to go in and make mistakes. We started with one idea, pivoted to a different idea, and they were fantastic for us. They were fundamental to kind of the growth that we had, along with kind of the local enterprise offices, always there, doors open, giving us basically help. So Ignite, along with kind of local enterprise offices initially, then we went on to basically kind of feasibility grant, priming grant, and then went into Enterprise Ireland and went to CSF, Competitive Start Fund, and went on to what's it called now, HPSU as well. So we were lucky that they kind of held our hand throughout the whole process and had a big impact on where we are today, and still help us as we're growing and scaling as well.
Hi guys. So a little bit, I suppose, similar in trajectory of the funding, etc. But I suppose I'll take it from maybe what we're doing as a business. And what we do is we make this compostable personal protective equipment. And then we also put it into this, we created this on-site biodigester that then converts it to a fertilizer. And then we have this monitoring dashboard with AI, etc. As we all do, hashtag sustainability, hashtag AI. So you can see we've got a lot going on. And one of the great things about the supports that we got was to help us to be able to try and bring from the mind into reality a circular business that has a lot going on, because our attention spans are literally about 2 minutes. So when you're trying to pitch that, for example, it is a challenge. And with regards to, we started with New Frontiers and EFAs there, and we had a great sort of time in the Rubicon. And we also had Enterprise Ireland, the PSSF as well, a bit HPSU. And then a shout out to Dan Murphy. Dan is brought in at every turn. You know, it's the financial, and my background is medicine, so I knew nothing about what an EBITDA was. So that was a challenge. I still don't even know. Well, I do, I promise I do. So I suppose in terms of that, what we're really proud of is that we've now, and I just came from that site this morning, we've set up our own pilot manufacturing of compostable PPE in Cork. Rarely people are doing consumable manufacturing. It's a big ask to ask investors and to actually look at that and go, yeah, maybe we should have a bit of manufacturing on this side of the world. And then you look at the geopolitical situation, you kind of go, maybe we weren't wrong there, because there's so much in the way of turbulence that we should really be kind of more self-sufficient in terms of job creation, etc. So I suppose that's a kind of a whirlwind tour. I've added a whole pile of things in there, but I just wanted to get across for anyone who's thinking in a sort of a different way. It's not all about building apps. Yes, they're very important. We are moving into an AI world, but there's something about the physical world, particularly when you come into sustainability and circular business, that it's really still important. And I think, you know, that's, I suppose, our kind of, I suppose, what we kind of talk about a lot, as well as about the physical being really important, not just this kind of virtual world that we all love to kind of, that's the sexy part. We're talking about hairnet. So I think that's probably why we sometimes have a challenge selling our business. But yeah, I'll stop there.
Thank you. Hi guys, my name's Nick Condon. I'm a co-founder of MCS Tech. So we provide software solutions to large private hospitals and healthcare organizations. We have a number of products now live in the market. We have Sign It pre-admission, which allows hospitals and healthcares basically to get the admission process, you know, that stressful time when you arrive at the hospital, health insurance forms, consent forms. We get that all basically to the patient before they ever arrive at the hospital. It's strongly tied in, like I said, to the health insurance process. If the hospitals can get that critical information up front, first of all, it reduces stress on arrival for the patient. They're not being asked sensitive, you know, medical questions as can happen today. And also it's very important for the hospitals to receive that data up front. Because if they don't, you could have claims worth, you know, hundreds of thousands of euro that get rejected by the insurance companies, basically. So that's what we do. We also help the hospitals get payments as well up front from the patients if there's an excess or shortfall as well on the policy. We have a billing platform then that's tied into Sign It. So that's an automated billing platform that pulls in data from all points throughout the hospital and submits that into the insurance company again. So it's all about patient experience and also that health insurance journey as well. Yeah, I suppose on our funding journey, yeah, like I suppose most people who've spoken up here today, we started very early doors with both the Leo and New Frontiers as well. So we would have done, I actually did New Frontiers 1. I'm not sure if that's still going, but we did the phase 1, and then we were recommended to move on to onto the phase 2 then, which is obviously the paid stipend, which is a big thing. Obviously at a very early stage to get that 2K or whatever it is now a month for 6 months is fantastic. You know, it really keeps you going. We would have then got a number of innovation vouchers, and we were able to bring those to a local kind of development centre. So they'll be tied into various centres. There's Nimbus over in MTU, and that would have got us kind of prototype stage, early MVPs, that we were just able to get rough and ready, but we were able to get those quickly in front of clients. In our business, it's 12 months minimum of a sales cycle. So to get those, you know, to have a bit of money in the bank to get those early prototypes developed was hugely helpful. Then we progressed on to Yeah, we would have gone for the CSF originally. It's now PSSF. We didn't get that. We weren't ready at the time. But we came back around when it became PSSF and we were able to get that. So that's the 100K, and you get that in 250K tranches, which again is massive for early stage businesses. And yeah, we've, again, Dan over there, we've been annoying him for years now. So yeah, Dan is always getting a mention. Ivan as well, I've definitely been annoying him as well. Frank has been annoying him. So yeah, just keep annoying people, basically. That's probably the philosophy. And yeah, look, as well, the Republic work here as well is a fantastic resource. We've been here for the last 5-6 years. The networking is fantastic. Frank will always help you out if you need anything. So yeah, big shout out as well to the guys here.
No, you're good. You're good. You can take a rest there. I think. No, you're grand. You're grand. I suppose one of the things we done quite well early on is just getting out in front of customers, essentially, right? Even when you're kind of developing the product, is getting out there, getting feedback on what idea that you have, and making sure that I suppose, problem that you're solving is a big enough problem to be solved, and that this value of your solution is at a value where people will purchase it. And it's just kind of, yeah, going out there, like how we kind of started, was we were knocking on doors, essentially. So like for myself and Ryan, between the two of us, we've lived in every county. Thanks. We lived in every county in Ireland for a period of time, and just got ourselves out there, just knocking on doors, and that's kind of how we started. So I think what I've seen a lot of the times, especially with businesses that we were kind of starting out with in these kind of incubators and accelerators, is that they were kind of afraid to get out and actually get themselves in front of customers and potential customers, so you can kind of learn and understand what the needs of them are as well. So that's kind of my main and don't give up, I suppose, just keep pushing.
I suppose taking advice, it's when you said they were going and living in each county, I think I might take up that and actually start doing a B&B or and going around selling into hospitals. The one piece of advice from our side is probably for anyone who's dealing with hard tech or something, as I said before, physical or any kind of in a manufacturing space. You might have a harder kind of sell when you're going out. So it's very important that you really articulate your abilities to scale it, because I joke about this. I said, sometimes we live in a world where people want, particularly investors, right? They want to hear you can scale it from your bedroom in your underpants, right? Because they literally don't want anything complicated, it seems. But then you meet people who actually do value hardware. They value something that you're creating in the world that solves something really physical, because it is hard to solve something like single-use plastic if you're not actually solving the actual plastic, which is, seems crazy to say, but that is actually something that we faced. And we also went out with a very idealistic kind of, oh God, let's do this. And it seems so simple when you start, and then you peel back the layers and there's obstacles everywhere. So definitely you cannot, if you have something that you really believe in, you have to keep going if you've created something that is worthwhile. But on the flip side of that, when you're going out then to get funding, you have to understand what the investor mindset is like. They do love that you're creating something, this is true, that's going to help their kids or what have you, or nature or what have you. But they also want to know, how are you going to scale it, and what's the return on investment, and how are you going to make money? So you have to grapple with that, even if ideologically you're like, no, but we really just want to solve this. But you also have to say, they're going to put money into your business. You have to give them a return, and you have to be able to say that in a way they understand it. So we've learned that the hard way, as in, we're getting it. We're getting there. We're getting to the way of articulating how do you scale something that is hardware. But certainly it was a journey.
Yeah, I'd say just to echo the guys' points there, to get in front of your customers as quick as you possibly can. Even if it's, an idea, you maybe have just a couple of slides to show them. Try and find that innovator amongst your customer set. So in our case, it's obviously large private healthcare organizations. They're big, slow-moving businesses. But I suppose, early enough doors, we were lucky enough to be able to find someone who believed in us, had a real problem, and we had that solution, or we were starting to build that solution for them. If you find that person or that team, they will help you along the journey, especially again in something like healthcare where trust is hard earned. But yeah, just to try and find those people early on in the journey, get in front of them. Don't be afraid to reach out to them, get concepts, ideas, prototypes, whatever you can in front of them. And yeah, definitely, yeah, don't give up, keep going. Yeah, we've been in the face of defeat many a time over the last 6 years, but it's funny, if you keep going, even at the worst of times, you will pull through it and the opportunities will come. So yeah, keep going.
Thanks, Nick. Very quickly, there's a question online. Considering your 6 years on the journey, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently? Nick.
Good question. Again, probably I'd take my own advice there and get in front of those customers quicker. You can probably, if you're procrastinating, you can probably waste a lot of time at the start thinking you don't have the perfect solution, you don't have the perfect idea, you don't have a perfect team, whatever it may be. I would say just go for it and try and get in front of those customers, those influencers within those businesses as quick as possible. That would be it.
Amazing. Thank you guys very much. Does anybody in the audience have any questions for our three lovely founders here? No. Thank you guys so much, and companies to watch, so keep an eye out for them. So I will. No, you can calm down. So we will just kind of wrap up. As you can see, hubs are catalysts for our ecosystem. We have many people coming through our doors across all stages in their journey, as well as later stage in terms of corporates. So, and innovation is not just stemmed from an idea that comes up to you in the middle of the night. It is by connecting, talking to stakeholders, getting involved, getting engaged, asking questions. So we are doing a lot more events here at Republic of Work. So keep an eye out there is a QR code which is hidden. So on our Republic of Work website, you can see the upcoming event. So there are constantly events. So keep an eye out for that if there are events in person, as well as for the NDRC website, there's loads of events happening across the Republic of Ireland. So just to go this back one. So there was a question that came up on the Q&A about working with a co-founder and how the supports help. This could be a great event to attend. So this is within Portishead in Galway, and I think it's online as well. And to everybody in the room and online, I highly recommend you join the StartUp Sprint. So it will be happening here in Republic of Work on Saturday, the 28th of March. It'll be an all-day hackathon. So doors will open at 8:30. 9 o'clock will start with forming teams, getting ideas flowing. We'll have a few workshops throughout the day about customer discovery, about product, about how to pitch. And in the evening, you will have a chance to compete by pitching to 3 different sets of heat room judges. And the finals will then go to a final round of an investment panel, including a VC. And there will be some prizes up for grabs for most improved startup, as well as idea on the day. So I am going to, with the mic constraint, we are going to say everybody just, if you go next, if you just scan that QR code and put through your questions, what we will do is we will respond to everybody with some answers about the questions and who we can talk to. Just in general, I think what we tend to wrap up with the masterclasses is what actions can you take? So how can you get, as you in the audience, wherever stage of the journey you are, how can you get more involved within the startup ecosystem? So what skills can you share? Now, everybody has skills to share across. You could be a specialist in an area, even though you're very early in your journey, and those are very transferable skills. Ecosystem newsletters, sign up to them, get involved within the local ecosystem. Tech Ireland always say create a profile with them so that they can engage you and record your company in their database. Contribute to your local hub, doors are always open here at Republic of Work, so do come in. There is a discount code wandering around for our meeting rooms. Do use it. We want to see more of you. And just in general, engage in policy conversation. The more we're engaging in policy conversation, the more our voices can be heard. So again, any learnings or takeaways from the session, please do share them with us. So in Ireland, we have learnt from top global ecosystems, and that is, we've acted on it. Ireland is top 10 amongst, I think this is, top 10 European countries in the latest Tech Island report, which is very exciting considering how small the island is. So please do give us some feedback, and I know that there've been a little bit of tech issues, but hopefully the next one will be much improved. Thank you very much.